A simple laugh. I had a normal childhood. My mom was a stay-at-home mom and my dad was a mechanic. He worked for most of the day, so I would wait for him to get home. When he did, we would play games and laugh together. I've always cherished these times with him. When I was in junior high, I remember looking back to those memories of my dad and I realized he was always quiet. I started thinking about this and finally asked my mom about my dad's silence growing up. She started laughing, like she had just been reminded of a funny joke. What could possibly be so funny? When she calmed down, she explained to me that Diddy didn't know how to speak English until I was around 10 years old. He couldn't speak English for 10 years of my life? He had no idea what I was saying for 10 years. She can't be serious. She can't. At that moment, I looked back on the times Diddy and I would play together, and I realized that his voice wasn't in my memories. In my childhood ignorance, I was blind to the fact that my parents were immigrants from Slovakia. They had immigrated to the United States to live the American dream. When they arrived in the US, my dad got a job as a mechanic and needed to learn several languages in order to communicate with his coworkers. English was the last and hardest language he needed to know. I could have helped him understand English sooner. I wish I would have known. My dad was always there for me. He would make me laugh when I was upset and would keep me positive even when things weren't. My dad was there, but when he needed me, I wasn't. I failed him. After having to learn several languages and not being able to talk to his children for several years, my dad still had more problems. I was born right after my family immigrated, so my mom had to stay home and take care of my sister and me. They left my dad to some way succeed and provided for a family of 4 and soon after 5. My dad found a job as a mechanic and worked from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. some days. I didn't see Diddy as often some weeks. Did something happen to him? I asked my mom and she told me, "He's home every day, honey, but he comes home too late and leaves too early for you to see him. Don't worry, my Alaska, my love. He kisses you every night." My mother's words would hold me over, but I was still depressed that I couldn't see him. I wish he didn't have to work all the time. I wish he could stay home and be with us. A few days later, I saw him, but he didn't look like himself. His eyes were bloodshot and surrounded by wrinkles. Diddy looks really tired. He probably doesn't want to play right now. I turned away from him and headed towards my room. "Cindy!" I spun back around to see Diddy with his hands over his eyes. He wants to play with me? Yes! I quickly ran to a hiding spot with a smile on my face from ear to ear. Even though my dad was exhausted and overworked, he still made time for me. That's how Diddy would tell me that he loved me, by making time to play with me even when he was drained. He didn't need to tell me with words because he showed it. My dad wasn't able to take pride in teaching me how to pronounce my first word or how to sing the ABCs, but that didn't stop him from teaching me. He taught me how to communicate without saying a word, by simply watching people interact with their environment. When I meet someone new or when I talk to my friends without realizing it, I always evaluate their posture and facial expressions. It gives me a better understanding of their mood and behavior. Ultimately, this helps me decide what to say, how to say it, and how they will respond to it. I know when to approach someone, when not to. I know when someone's lying or telling the truth. My dad taught me that. My unspoken father taught me that. I know how to read people and understand them because of him showing, not telling me. In many ways, I think my dad not being able to speak to me is more of an advantage than a disadvantage, because I learned to communicate with people without using words. Growing up, I never realized my dad's voice was missing, because I heard him every time we would laugh together, every time we would play, every time we would share a smile. I knew who my dad was. He didn't have to tell me with words, because he told me in his own way when he would see me. Communication is more than words, it's actions, expressions, postures, and in my case, a simple laugh or smile. Something so simple can say so much and mean even more. I learned so much from my dad, and I don't think he could have taught me as much if he had just told them to me.
Hi, Cindy.
Hey Dad, how was work?
Oh, please stop swearing.
Oh, I swear like a sailor, Dad.